I'm back. It's Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Thank you guys so much for staying with us. Now, I mentioned to you earlier that we still have our Easter programming starting today at exactly 9 a.m. I'm going to walk you through what to experience from today until Monday. And so we're going to go on. So on the 10th of April, which is today, from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m., Reverend Ebenezer Marquay and the Monarch's Praise will take us away. We'll really enjoy Good Friday the way we're used to enjoying Good Friday. Tomorrow, Bethel Revival Choir will take us away with some great worships, and we're going to minister with them from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then on Sunday, we have a special one with Ni Okai, and that's also from 8 a.m. to 10. And of course, on Monday, we have MOG. I know we've all been listening to Be Lifted, so they will lift us up all morning on Monday, so you don't want to miss any of that. Now, I did tell you earlier that our personality is Oheneyere Gifty Anti. She's a very big woman. She's a role model to millions of girls all over the country, and we're so honored to have her here with us. Now, conversation today with her will be about her life, what drives her, the impact she made as a journalist, and the service she's actually served to this country in her decades of work. And if you have any questions for her, let us know with the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585-832, and I'll do well to ask her. And of course, if you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. Again, Gifty Anti needs no introduction. She's an author. She's a CEO of GDA Media Limited. She's a host of the Standpoint TV program. She also directs that, or produces that show as well. And she's a motivational and conference speaker. Good morning, Gifty.
Morning, Dziffa.
How are you? I'm good. Thank you so much for spending your holiday with us.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Perfect. I said thank you so much for spending your Good Friday with us. You waking up this early in the morning to hang out with us. We're honored.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be on the platform.
So tell us a bit about yourself, what life was like as a young girl, what you wanted to do when you grew up as a child. What was life like?
Well, thank you very much, and happy Good Friday to all of you. Well, I grew up as a very happy child in Tema Community 8. You wrote. I grew up with my dad, basically, and my siblings. And it was quite happy because my dad was an all-rounder. There was plenty of, like, tell people that there was plenty of love in my home. There wasn't much money, but there was plenty of love. My father was everything, was everywhere. He built the confidence in me. He made me believe that there's nothing I cannot achieve if I put my mind to it, though I couldn't, imagine how. But, he was my number one cheerleader, and not just me, all his children. He was always there for us. I went to a psychedelical school. It's called Tema Community 8, number 1 primary and middle school. It's a whole paragraph.
Wow.
The name of the school. Yeah, so it's those days we used to call them Saito.
Oh.
That's where I went. Yes. Then I went to Infantima Girls Secondary School. Then I went to GIJ, worked at GBC for 7 years, went to do my master's, came back, worked for a while, and then I left to be on my own. But I'm the last of 8 children, so I'm the baby last, the accidental baby, or pension baby, if you may. Yeah, so that's me.
What was your relationship like with your siblings?
Oh, we were very close. I mean, very, very close. My father kept all of us together. Everybody is sister or brother, especially me being the youngest one. He instilled a lot of discipline and respect in us. I remember, I'm sure you've read this somewhere, when I started coming on TV, he made me do something, sweep. There's the gutter in front of our house, just to let me know that, listen, you are the least in your family, you are the youngest in your family. The fact that you find yourself in the public space doesn't mean that all of a sudden you become bigger than life. Know that you have a humble beginning. There are people who came before you. It's just by grace that you find yourself where you are. And that's when he gave me that, statement that when you're busy messing up, somebody's busy warming up to take over from you. So never, ever lose who you are. and never settle, never give up, keep moving. Every time, add value to yourself. After one achievement, you ask yourself, what next?
Thank you. Thank you for that. You were at GBC for 17 years. What was that experience like, and what lessons did you learn from it?
Including national service. So that was 17 years. So hard labor. I learned everything. GBC, I can never tell my story without mentioning GBC.
Yeah.
GBC molded me. It taught me basically everything I know. Of course, along the line, I've added value to myself. I've gone back to school. I've learned a lot. I've learned from people. I've been mentored. I've been coached. But GBC taught me everything. I can direct, I can present, I can produce, I can edit, everything because I learned it from GBC. It was tough experience because, that's a tough ground. But I have no regret ever working at GBC. I did everything from reporting from the rubbish dump to traveling across the country to report from the remotest parts of the village of the country, to being a presidential correspondent, to be a news presenter, to being a host, being the ceremonial commentator for national events. So I went through it all at GBC. There's nothing I'm doing now that I didn't learn from GBC, but it was the hard way. Nobody will pamper you. There's nothing like, being nice. You do it, you do it. You go to work in the morning, you don't know when you're closing.
Wow. So
my reporting time, I know, I used to host the breakfast show at JBC. So I leave home, I used to live at 10. I leave home around 4:30. By 5:15, I'm at JBC. After the breakfast show, I go to the newsroom to work. Sometimes I get home at midnight.
Wow. Was there ever a time where you were like, this is exhausting, I'm tired?
Oh, yes. Every
and
time.
What kept you going?
Every time I told myself I wouldn't do this again, I'm tired. But I kept going because of the, quote unquote, the impact I felt I was making. There were people who would meet me and say that, oh, I'm so happy to see you on TV. Oh, I love your style. Oh, I loved the way you presented. And you young people coming up to you to say that I look up to you. I want to be like you. I want to be a Gifty Anti. That kept me going. And especially people telling you that, after you give, you can't give up on us. So the way our children want to be like you, when you give up or when you leave, indirectly blackmailing you kind of thing.
Emotionally blackmailing you.
And then I loved what I was doing. I just loved it. I didn't set out to be a journalist.
What did you want to be?
Oh, growing up, all I wanted to be was to do something that will give me some money to take care of myself and take care of my dad. Aww. And help the less privileged in society.
Wow.
My father, forgive me, I'll be mentioning my father throughout and the things he taught me throughout, this interview. But there was something he used to say, not for your goods, but for your good. Not for your goods, but for your good. Not really about the material things you get, but the impact, the good you can do for society. And the good doesn't necessarily mean you giving out cash or food or something, but somebody seeing you or watching you and having some hope that something good can come out of them too, that they can also turn their lives around, that they can also become somebody's in future. That is for your good. So every time I just kept going, I want to make an impact, just make some small money and then I met one amazing lady called Dziffa from Asari, Mrs. Lisa, who mentored me at Ghanaian Times. But then before then, I met one Mr. Daxi at Internal Revenue, now GRA, used to be Internal Revenue. I went to do my internship from GIJ at the PR department of Ghana Internal Revenue, and then in 1995. Yes, 1995. If I were you born, that's good.
I was born. I'm not that young. But speaking of, go ahead.
And then, I used to read, and I was always helping to edit and pointing out things and say, listen, young lady, you know what? Go and try a media house for just 1 month. If you don't like it, come back and I'll employ you.
Wow.
to try Media House, and I never went back.
Wow.
Because I fell in love with it.
Huh. So what lessons can young people learn from trying out something that they may not necessarily be used to and finding that that's probably their purpose?
You know, Dziffa, I always tell young people, whenever I get the opportunity to talk to them, is that it's good to be passionate about your first love, something you love to do, something you think you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that is not what is destined for you to do. That is not what is destined for you to achieve in life. And maybe sometimes that is what is really meant for, that is your destiny. But you need to go through a detour to get there. Mm-hmm. You may be knocking at a particular door, and I'm sure, Dziffa, you've heard it. People tell you, I want to be like that, but I don't have, I've tried, and everything, nothing is working. But sometimes you need to go and knock on a different door.
Yeah.
And if that door opens, you realize that there is an adjoining road or room or door that can lead you to the original door that you were knocking on.
Yeah.
Initially. Or there may be a window that you can pass through. So you want to be, let's say, an engineer. You want to be a presenter. If I listen, I got into presenting by accident. Mm-hmm. I was put on a show as a floor manager. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to be a presenter. I was going to be a floor manager. But I took it so seriously with every passion in me. And of course, my father, knowing that my name was going to appear on TV, Gifty Anti floor manager, and it was going to be his bragging right.
Aww.
Made sure I left home very early, got to GBC early. When I got to GBC, I decided to get involved in the production.
Yeah.
Though I was just to be a floor manager. I got there first. The producer wasn't there. The director wasn't there. The presenter wasn't around. The driver said he was going to Ghanaian Times to cycle to go and pick up newspapers. I went with him. Mm-hmm. Well, I was afraid it was too quiet in there anyway. So I went with him to cycle to pick up the newspapers. When we're coming, I started reading through. Finally, when the presenter got there and time was a bit against her, mm-hmm. I decided to volunteer to tell her the stories in the newspapers, the headlines of what they're talking about. And then she said, Gifty, okay, you know what? Join me on set. And then you just read the headline, tell me what's about, and I discuss because there's no time.
Wow.
And because I was prepared, because I'd read the newspapers, though physically I wasn't prepared because I was wearing my father's shirt and a jean skirt and slippers,
but
no makeup,
mentally
nothing.
You were more than prepared.
Mentally, I was prepared. And in terms of content, I was prepared. So I took up that challenge and I went to sit. And that's where it's brought me where I am today.
Wow.
You know, after the first show, a magazine described me as beautiful enough for the set, but not intelligent enough.
Huh. But
I didn't give up. Again, my dad told me that the best form of revenge is to succeed. So he said to me, Nana, that's how my, name, those who close to me call me. Nana, you know what? If you get the opportunity, you are going to go back there. You're going to improve upon yourself. You're going to do well. And then people will know that, yes, you belong there.
Wow.
And that is what I did. So you may try at first. It may not work. Don't give up. Keep trying. If you're passionate enough and you're willing to learn, you'll make it.
How important is it for the men in our lives, our fathers, our husbands, our brothers, to believe in us and have high standards for us and also be there to champion us when we don't win all the time?
Dziffa, it means the world. Because every girl's first love is the dad. You should see my little girl and the dad now. The man is exercising and she's sitting there. When he's on the treadmill, when he goes a bit faster, she'll be clapping.
She's his personal cheerleader.
When I'm exercising, she doesn't do that for me, So it is so important to affirm your daughters and to be there. Not just your daughters, your children. To be there for them, to believe in them. My father was my rock, and even up to today, he's my rock. Sometimes when I'm down and I feel like I ask him, what would Dad say? And I remember something he told me years ago. I remember how he looked at me some time ago. I remember the way he affirmed me. And that's it. He didn't give me the best one. Dziffa, I mean, I say this with no apology. Yes, my father died and left a house for his children. As I sit here, I can't show you that this is the jewelry, this is the money, this is that my father left for me. But everything I am today is because of my dad, because he believed in me, because he pushed me. When I was going to do my master's, he was even sick. But he said to me, go. I mean, just go and make me proud. Go add value to yourself. And he promised me he was going to wait for me before he died. But on the day I was about to write my last paper, that was the day he died. So it's so important. That's why I do what I do. I mean, for somebody who was raised by a man, one will wonder, why am I so passionate about women? Why am I so...
that was my next question.
Yes, I mean, like a feminist, such a strong feminist. It is because I want men to understand that it is important to give your children, especially your daughters, equal opportunities. My father became a security man, a proud Achin man, Gold Coast trained police officer. One time, I'm a Kingsway manager. He became a security man at my ever-ready batteries, just so he could get money to pay my school fees at Infantman Girls Secondary School. He made that ultimate sacrifice to do that. After a while, when they were laid off, he became an insurance hawker, working from community to community, selling insurance, Ghana Life Insurance, that's where he used to work, selling insurance to people. So he could get money to pay my school fees. Throughout my days at Infantsman, he came to visit me just once. And that picture will never leave my memory. I was a senior on duty. I was in Form 3, or was it Form 4? And then I saw STC bus park in front of Infantsman Girls Secondary School. So, as usual, those of us on duty will go and meet the parents and then ask them the names of the awards and then go and look for their children and bring them. Then I saw my dad get down from the STC bus, holding, his small briefcase with a loaf of bread. I mean, and that was it. I was so excited. I deserted my post to go and hug my dad because I knew what it took for him to make that journey just to come and see me. And it was a turnaround for me. I told myself I will make this man proud.
Wow.
Because I understand the sacrifice. So parents, especially fathers, be there. Mothers are most of the time there. But fathers sometimes think it's just, pay school fees and all that. But be physically and emotionally there, especially during these times. Mm-hmm. Spend time with the family. Get to know your children. Get to know your spouse. Get to know what is going on in their lives. And you'll be amazed. That'll be a turnaround for them. Children are going through a lot.
But Gifty, how do we get to that? How do we get to that point? Because if you are a middle-income family and the mother is always at work, the father is always at work, you're used to showing love through buying things for the kids. And now for 2-3 weeks, you're stuck at home with the kids. Even if you have money, there's nothing to buy because most of the shops are closed down. How do you get back that emotional intelligence and that connection and engagement that the kids might be yearning for, but you don't even know how to express it yourself as a parent?
By trying. I mean, try, get them close to you, ask them questions. I mean, that's YouTube. You guys, your show. I mean, I've watched a few times, when I'm not on the run to take the little one to school, or when I get to work, maybe I catch up with you later. You've done so many programs. Watch quality programs that will help you in your development. These times, that we are home, what else can you do? Sleep and eat, and then what? Your children are around you. Take the opportunity. Ask them, try. Nobody has it perfect. You may try and you may fail. I remember there's a time I did a program, The Standpoint, and said, let's talk about sex, mom and dad. And one lady, I asked her, and the person, she said, oh, no, her parents never talked to her about that. And I said, okay, so what's she going to do? Is she going to ask? He said, oh, when the mom asks her, she will ask the mom, what do you want to know?
Wow.
Because the children know so much. They're being fed so much. They go to school. They meet people. They meet teachers. Things are happening. No one was taught how to be a parent. If I say that I am still learning to be a parent, I became a mother at 47 years. This woman here was used to having her life, her independence, her privacy, going wherever she wants to, doing whatever she wants to do. I'm now trying until this lockdown. When I take my daughter to school, I make sure every morning I take her to school myself.
Wow.
By 2 p.m., I have closed. I pick her up myself, and then we either go back to my office or we come home. But that is because I work on my own.
Yeah.
I do my own job. But if you do work for somebody, there's always time. Either you are phoning home to just talk to them. Then now there's Facebook. When I was in 2 weeks in quarantine, that's what I was doing. I mean,
how was that
doing
quarantine
Facebook,
experience for you? And why did you decide to share your journey with us?
Because that's what I do. That's my passion. I call it my ministry. To use my life as an example to encourage people and to inspire people. To let them know that it's not lost. That's, with this particular, to let them know that this is a reality. This is something that is happening and we don't have to joke with that. I needed to let them know that, listen, this Gifty Anti you see strong out there encouraging people, and it doesn't mean I have it. I cry. I break down. I miss my daughter. When I was told her finger was swollen, if I were home, I'm sure I would just know what to do. But because I was not home, super mom, I thought I had it, so I was the only one who can heal. But the emotional trauma that I'm not there and my daughter was sick.
Yeah.
I just needed to let people understand. That's the little that I can do. Even in quarantine, I was just calling on other people, checking on them, how they are doing, calling on hotel staff, asking them if they are taking care of themselves. And I got it from my dad. That was my dad anyway. That's what I was doing. People were still sending me messages to talk to me about their domestic issues, their problems and all that. And I was still helping them. Though I was in quarantine, but that's what I love to do. That's what makes me a human being. The fact that we are in quarantine doesn't mean we have to put our lives on hold. No, we have to still dream. We still have to live. We still have to love. We still have to, smile. But just that we don't have to be out there putting our lives in danger. There's a reason for technology. Let me say thank you to JB for teaching me how to do
Shout out to JB.
I didn't know how to do it. He was laughing at me throughout. But, during this quarantine, I know how to Zoom. I know how to.
You've learned something new.
I've learned something new, So there's always an opportunity. I'll always ask myself when I find myself in a situation, what can I do about this? Am I going to sit and cry and moan? Or I can turn it around for something positive. So that is why I decided to share my story for people to know.
Thank you. And we're glad you exist. We're glad. It takes a lot of courage to be so transparent and vulnerable with people, especially in our environment where there's so much stigma attached to sharing your story. Some of our viewers have questions for you, so I'm going to read them briefly. A viewer wants to know if you always knew you would be this great.
Funny thing is, my third book, which is yet to come out, it's called 50 Nuggets at 50. There's a chapter in it I talk about it. I call it a nugget. The title is Speak the Word. And I remember when I didn't get admission to tech, then now KNUST, and I was sick, and my dad told me that, don't worry, you'll be great one day. I didn't believe it. I was looking around me, great, what is that?
I can't even get into tech.
Thank you. So what are you talking about? Great. What is this man talking about? But then he spoke that word into my life. And I worked on it. So no, I didn't know that I'll be this gifted. Sometimes I just sit and I wonder, on the 14th of March, I was in Manchester. I was the keynote speaker for the Ghana Union of Greater Manchester, their Ghana 63 independence, anniversary. I was the keynote speaker. The Lord Mayor of Greater Manchester was sitting next to me.
Wow.
The High Commissioner was sitting on and I was just sitting there and I was like, Dad, Can you see me now? I can't believe it. Sometimes I just can't believe it. People around me just keep telling me, you don't seem to know who you become, what you become. But I do this because I believe in it. I don't know if I'm great, but I'm grateful for where God has brought me, that He has given me a voice. So no, we may not know our destination, but whatever we are doing, the journey we are traveling on, if you stay focused, if you stay determined, if you don't give up on yourself, you'll be amazed where God will take you.
How have you remained grounded in faith in God all these decades? We know that sometimes your faith is strong when you're going through challenges, when you're in the struggle, but how have you remained grounded in this throughout your career and your life?
Okay, so faith, it does not mean the absence of fear. Sometimes I get scared. But God has proved Himself to me over and over again. If you look through my profile, I say I'm a woman with super crazy faith in God through miracles and testimonies.
Yeah.
And even look at how God brought me out of this particular journey to Europe, to all the places that had, the coronavirus, all around. I mean, one of my friends this morning was telling me that, Gifty, I believe that God knows that if He allows you, you run away from Him. So He keeps taking you through the fire and then He takes you out of it. How I was able to come out negative, how I was able to even get a flight back to Ghana the day I came on the 22nd of March. It's all a miracle. God always proves Himself to me, because I have made Him my ultimate. I'm not a perfect human. No. I've had a very checkered and a crooked history. But you know what? God has always, because that's how I was raised. And parents, that's why they say you raise the child the way he or she should go.
And they will not depart from it.
Sometimes as children. But then, that seed you sow in that child, she or he may go wandering, but one day, if you don't give up as a parent on that child, they will always come back. They will always come back to where you first planted them. That's the word of God and the presence of God. God has always, maybe there'll be another talk for faith. Sometimes yes. I call Him my God of the 11th hour. My God of the 11th hour. Sometimes you just wonder, so God, you do this thing. So why do you make me hustle like that? But He does it. He does it. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I wonder why me. My dear, whoever asked the question, I'm not this super crazy woman who think that by all means, Charlie, it happens. And always add wisdom. Yeah. Always add wisdom. Being a woman of faith, knowing that God has brought me out of it, does not mean that because God has brought me out of Italy, out of Hamburg, out of London, without me being positive, it means that I can go out there to the market to mingle with people and God will take me out again. He's given me enough opportunity. He saved me. Yes, He can do it again, but He's given me wisdom to apply. So that's what I would do.
Thank you. So more messages here. Bernard from Medina says, Gifty Anti is one of the female journalists I always love to listen to any day, anytime. I can say without hesitation that she is a good personality and that we, the younger generation, can rely on her to become better people in future. Gladys says, please let her know I love her so much and I would like to meet her one day. Jonathan from Spintex says, I always get hope every time I listen to Oheneyere. May God continue to take her far to impact lives. So speaking of impact, and guys, keep your messages coming with the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550585832. I'll read them before we are done. And if you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. Speaking of impact, what made you decide, at what point in your life did you decide that I'm going to be a women's rights advocate? And even though I was raised by my father, I've noticed X, Y, and Z in women like myself, women younger than me, and I'm going to inspire them. I'm going to be their rock. I'm going to be that voice in their head that would reassure them when they are doubting themselves.
Okay. I think I've always been that person, especially throughout my school days at Infantiman Girls Secondary School. I was everybody's school mother. I was always, looking. Some of the children, they'll come and call me, Auntie Gifty. They used to call me Sister Gifty, Sister Gifty. And my mother wants to meet you. I told her you're my school mother, and I don't even remember the girl's name. But I was always out there looking out for them. I hated seeing the children being bullied. So I was always covering up for them. I was always saving them, rescuing them, not saving. I'm not God. Thank you. Helping to rescue them. I became entertainment prefect. So all the young ones used to rally around me and all that. So it was there. And I was always looking out for my friends. And so one of my, friends I grew up with, we went to the same school. She told me quite recently, I think my 50th birthday in January, she sent me a message, said, you may not remember, but when we were in school, she said her parents forgot to pick her up. Mm-hmm. And because her parents always pick her up, she didn't put her name down for the bus to pick her home. Mm-hmm. But she was crying. I saw her, asked her, why was she crying? She said her parents, she also lived in Dziffa. Her parents said they forgot that today is the vacation day, so they didn't pay. So I forgot my seat on the bus and took a trotro with her from Infantiman Gate to Mankasim to take a bus from Mankasim to Tema. And when we got to Tema, I made sure she got a taxi to her home before I got a trotro to go to my home. I don't remember, but she said I did this for her, and she has never forgotten. So I guess that thing has always been there. But it became, quote unquote, official when I started experiencing it as a journalist. Mm-hmm. And all sorts of things were being said about me. All sorts of things were being thrown at me, all because I'm a woman and doing what I do. I just didn't understand it. So when I went to do my master's, I met a feminist who was my journalism lecturer, called Christabel King. She's the first female BBC presenter on BBC World. Wow. Not BBC in general, but BBC World, 20 years. So she told me, she wanted me, after my studies, she wanted me to stay and then do something in London. I told her no. I wanted to go back to Ghana because my father had died and she knew it. So she said, there's nothing there for you. You are not married. You are not, you don't have a child. So what are you going back to Ghana to do? I said, well, I just feel that I have to go. I owe Ghana that. And so I go back. And she said, okay, promise me this, that when you go back, you are going to do something to change the lot of Ghanaian women. You are going to bring a certain light to be shown on the Ghanaian woman and the youth. She made me promise. I made that promise and I kept it. I came back. I tried to do things, tried to get women involved. It was tough because I was working in an institution which was also male-dominated and wasn't that liberated, and thought that this whole feminism and, women, at that time, even feminism wasn't popular. It was hated. It was women empowerment was being blown out of proportion, and NGOs were doing that and that. So I decided to start my own show. And the show, the standpoint when I started, the main aim was to let people see that we have strong women who can talk on politics, engineering, finance, whatever it is. But when I started, I realized that there were underlying factors that was preventing women from coming up to take up these positions of authority.
What were some of those factors? Politics.
One, that they are not married. Two, they don't have children. Three, that they have they've been divorced before. They come from a family that, is not well known, or that they are married and their husbands don't think they are good enough to take up any challenge. And so they have to sacrifice and stay at home and give up on their dreams. Another one being that they have a certain past. People know that they used to be this or that. So they are being held ransom, sometimes by themselves, their own,
their own
conscience telling them that, oh, no, I don't want people to say this about me. I don't want people to say that about me. And so I'm not going to do that. So I decided that we need to tackle it. We need to tackle it because everybody has a past. And the past is different from the present, and the present different from the future. As a Christian, for God's sake, even Rahab, the prostitute, played a positive role in the Israelites capturing Jericho.
Yeah.
God found something worthy in that prostitute, Rahab, and used her. And now, Rahab's name can be traced to the history of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I just was determined to let people know that, hey, it doesn't matter your status. There's something God has given you that is in your heart, that is in your head, that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to hold your head high, irrespective of what people say about you.
Yeah.
Just look at me, Dziffa. Years ago, the things that were being said about me, if I had given up then, would I be here chatting with you?
Speaking of not giving
on
up,
Zoom.
speaking of not giving up, how did you handle, marrying late and people equating a woman's success to their marital status, their ability to give birth? If you're overly ambitious, society punishing you for it. How did you make your way through all of that?
First of all, it started from the way I was raised. My father told me that there was nothing I cannot achieve. My ultimate goal is to make an impact, to make a name, to leave a legacy. Even my father never really just talked about marriage with me or putting pressure on me to get married and stuff like that. Though now I wish my father were around to see my little girl, and play around. But there was nothing like that. But society can really do it. Society is made up of both men and women. They can really put pressure on you. So there were times I cried. There were times I asked myself why. But there were times I told myself, like, you know what? Fine. Especially when my dad died. My father's dead. I don't have a child. I'm not married. And so what? If I die today, will my excuse to God or my explanation to God why I didn't utilize that talent, that potential He's given me, is that because I wasn't married and I didn't have a child? No, I didn't think that was good enough. In my own head, a woman of faith. But I just told myself that, listen, you need to make an impact. This same Ghanaian society that is breathing down on the neck of every Ghanaian woman who's not married, who doesn't have a child, are idolizing Oprah, are praising Oprah, are watching Oprah, are watching Ellen.
Thank you very much, Oheneyere Gifty Anti, for being with us. I've gone way over my time. It's been so lovely talking to you, and I hope you'll come back again. We need to talk on faith, and we need to talk on resilience. So I hope you'll make time again to talk to us. But we thank you so much for spending time with us.
Now that I know Zoom, thanks to JB.
Yes, we'll talk some more. Enjoy your day. And thank you at home for joining us for Breakfast Daily. We've had a blast, and we're going to have a lot for you kickstarting the Good Friday. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.